President Donald Trump granted a 1-month reprieve for some tariffs. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Friday, March 7th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. The roller coaster ride of Trump's tariffs shows no signs of slowing down. On Tuesday, 25% levies on all goods from Mexico and Canada took effect. On Wednesday, Trump announced exemptions for some automobile imports. Then, yesterday, he granted a 1-month reprieve for products from Canada and Mexico that comply with a free trade agreement that Trump renegotiated in his first term. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum said she persuaded Trump to push off the penalties in a phone call yesterday morning. But it doesn't apply to everything. About 50% of goods from Mexico and 62% of goods from Canada will still face the new tariffs. The whiplash sent financial markets sliding for a third straight day. And the markets aren't the only ones feeling skittish about these will he or won't he tariff policies. The Post texted 1,000 Americans to get a mood check on the public's view of tariffs. Most people said they opposed them. And about 3/4 said they are concerned that tariffs will raise the prices of the products they buy. President Trump directed his cabinet to take the lead in shrinking their agencies. That's number 2. Trump held a cabinet meeting yesterday. He told his top political appointees that they ought to be more involved in deciding which government workers are shed. That's rather than waiting for directives from Elon Musk and his Doge team, which have been leading cuts to the federal workforce thus far. It followed weeks of tension between agency heads and Musk's team. But Trump seemed to warn his cabinet that Musk will still hold significant authority. Trump spoke to reporters from the Oval Office after the meeting.
So we're going to be watching them, and Elon and the group are going to be watching them. And if they can cut, it's better. And if they don't cut, then Elon will do the cutting.
Trump's messaging is the latest in a series of moves that signals a tactical shift. His administration is seeking to guard against possible legal challenges in its next round of federal workforce cuts. Number 3. The U.S. proposed a 2-month ceasefire extension in Gaza. The first phase of a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas expired last weekend. Official negotiations on the second phase have yet to take place. But in an unusual move, U.S. negotiators have been meeting directly with Hamas in recent days. That breaks a long-standing policy against talking with groups that Washington has designated as foreign terrorist organizations. The Post is reporting that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was not informed of the talks before they took place, and that he was caught off guard. In one of those meetings, the U.S. has floated a new proposal. It would lead to the release of the remaining American hostage held in Gaza, Edon Alexander, plus a number of other living Hamas captives. That would be in exchange for a ceasefire extension of about 50 days, and the resumption of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Israel cut off all aid to the devastated territory last weekend. A SpaceX Starship exploded during a test flight. That's our 4th story. This was the 8th test of SpaceX's giant spacecraft, and it didn't go fully according to plan. The uncrewed ship broke apart shortly after takeoff, sending debris raining down from the sky. That grounded some airline flights in Florida and led to a spectacular light show in the Bahamas.
What is going on right now?
That is so cool!
That was some reaction from Eric Lucen and a very excited child in the Bahamas. SpaceX, which was founded by Elon Musk, lost another spacecraft in January. Starship is essential to Musk's vision of eventually colonizing Mars and to NASA's plans to return astronauts to the moon. But before they can do that, SpaceX will have to conduct an investigation of this latest failed test. Number 5. An American is set to be executed by firing squad today. Brad Keith Sigmund was convicted of killing his ex-girlfriend's parents in South Carolina in 2001. In 2002, he was sentenced to death. The 67-year-old has opted to be executed by firing squad. It would be the first such execution in the U.S. since 2010. Sigmund's lawyer said he chose this method because he was fearful about his other two options, the electric chair and lethal injection. This week, the South Carolina Supreme Court denied his latest motion to delay his execution. His advocates have called for clemency, which can only come from South Carolina's Republican governor. Those advocates say Sigmund's initial trial did not take mitigating factors, including mental illness, into account. Number 6. Butterfly populations have cratered nationwide. A new study published yesterday revealed a worrying situation for butterflies. It found that the number of butterflies in the contiguous U.S. has declined by 22% this century. Over 100 species declined by more than 50%. One scientist called the findings catastrophic. The delicate insects are being killed off by shrinking habitats, rising temperatures, and a toxic array of pesticides. It's part of a global downturn in insect populations, which has dire implications for entire ecosystems. In the U.S., scientists worry that the decline in butterflies could undercut the pollination that sustains America's crops. So with that in mind, consider planting some butterfly-friendly flowers and plants in your garden this weekend. And at number 7, it's nearly time to spring forward. On Sunday at 2 a.m., the clocks will jump forward an hour. So don't schedule anything important for 2:30 a.m. on Sunday because that time won't exist. The start of daylight saving time means you'll lose an hour of sleep. But on the other hand, you'll also gain an hour of daylight in the evening. Every year when this happens, you may find yourself asking, why? Why do we do this? It turns out the method was first proposed by founding father Benjamin Franklin as a joke in 1784. But it was instituted for real nationwide in the 1960s. And now we all have to live with the consequences, especially those of us who host an early morning podcast. Except in Arizona, most of which stays on standard time all year long. They're doing their own thing down there. As for the rest of us, good luck, and I hope you can enjoy the evening sunshine through your bleary, exhausted eyes. That's the show for this week. The associate producer of The 7 is Taylor White. The staff writers are me and Jamie Ross. John Taylor is our editor. Special thanks this week to Claire Wallace. Additional editing by Christina Quinn. Copy editing is by Melissa No and Thomas Haliba. Mixing and sound design is by Jim Briggs and Justin Garish. Our theme music is by Edith Mudge. Renita Jablonski is our director of audio. I'm Hannah Jewell. Thanks for listening and have a great weekend. I'm going to be off next week, but the rest of the team will meet you back here on Monday.